Okay. Everything looks good. Alright, well, hey guys. Here I am. Part 4. Um, we're going to try and finish up this Sulphur Springs today. I'm pretty excited about it. I kind of set this stream up very quickly. I literally only had about less than 10 minutes to get it all set up, so I can understand if there's not a whole bunch of people coming in right away. Normally I try to set everything up across 20 minutes to half an hour or something like that. But I kind of wanted to try and catch everything within 30 minutes, or try to catch everything within just a few minutes because hey, Wrath of Wood, good to have you in here. Thanks for joining. I kind of threw everything together at the last second because YouTube has this weird way of running time frames. They don't let you set your times to specific minutes. They only let you do it every half hour. So it was about, I think 2:45 or 2:50 when I decided to throw this whole stream together. So everything's kind of thrown together at the last second. So yeah, here we are. We're going to try and finish this up. I'm really excited to get this Sulphur Springs done. And I'm also a little bit nervous about it because it's I'm putting on the finishing touches and I'm not 100% sure how it's going to come out when I finish. But I'm just very excited about it and ready to get into it. So I just wanted to say, I wanted to actually do this stream a couple of days ago. I was actually originally planning to do it on Friday or yesterday, but I actually kind of got sick. I don't know what I was dealing with. I was feeling really fatigued and I was having all these headaches and things like that, and just had no energy to do anything. So I have the notification bell rung for you and Perp, so I'm early to the party. Very cool, Wrath of Wood. Appreciate it, man. Glad to have you here. Always good to have a loyal fan coming in right when I start and joining us for all the fun. So thank you so much, Wrath of Wood. So yeah, I was sick for the last couple of days. I actually am still dealing with some headaches. I want to say I had to take some ibuprofen about 30 or 40 minutes ago because I was having a really intense headache. So I'm kind of still feeling a few symptoms. But I felt like I was feeling much better today than I was the last couple of days, so here I am. Like I said, I wish I could have actually started this a while ago, a couple of days ago, but that's just not how it went down. So we're here now, and we're going to have a good time. So let me go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to lift this camera out of the way so I can get my palette set up for you guys. Alright. Dip my brush in the water for a little bit. Bring out this palette. Set up my sketchbook. I actually, whenever I do these streams working on this commission, I actually always keep my sketchbook open so that I can be aware of what I'm trying to accomplish. So, for anybody who doesn't remember what we're working on, this is basically my end goal for the centerpiece of art, is to get in this little lady imp in her bikini and a little can of beer in there as well. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to be 100% true to what I've done here. Sometimes I make minor changes, so it just kind of depends. So I'm going to throw this sketch off onto my easel so that I can kind of look at it every once in a while when I'm not sure what I'm doing. And we're going to throw on some paint. So let's see what I need to accomplish here. I really want to just focus on the little lady imp, so we'll start with a couple of things. So the first thing I want to do is, hey Man Cave, good to see you, man. I like your 3 little cubes. I don't know what those are supposed to be. If I remember correctly, when they show those 3 little squares, it means that, now I'm not 100% sure, but I think it means that you're trying to use an emoticon or an emoji or something that is not working correctly in the chat. So, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but, it's whatever, it's all good. If you want to throw 3 squares at me, that's okay. Yeah, so Man Cave, this should be, hopefully, if everything goes the way that I want it to, this will probably be the very last time I work on your piece today. This will hopefully be the very last one. So I'm very excited to get this done. I'm putting down some black, and I'm also going to put down some white. Yeah, apparently that emoji doesn't work in my chat. I'm not sure why, but, it's all good. So I'm setting up some black and white here because I actually need to make a primer gray. And this primer gray is going to be used on the main square of the art, so that I can basically create the little lady imp in there. And so that's what I'm setting up these paints for right now. Let me just kind of make sure that you guys can see the paint. I put in a little dab of white and a little dab of black. And we're going to get some red on here. Just like a little bit of red. Well, a pretty decent sized blob of red will probably do it. Well, I'm actually been trying to think of like what I was going to work on once I finish this piece, and I'm not 100% sure yet. I kind of want to work on a land, because I haven't done any land art in a while. I think the last time I did a land art was I was doing that island that I have done before when I was doing the test streaming. And I guess that was relatively recent, but I don't know. I just like working on land art. Of course, I have my coffee here. I drink a lot of coffee. But yeah, I kind of want to work on some more lands. I just love doing land art. I mean, I know some people might find that kind of boring, but it's kind of one of my favorite things to do. I've done a lot of land art, like painting lands and things like that, because when I first started doing Magic card painting, I would use lands as my testing grounds. So like for example, the first like 3 paintings I ever did were land art. And then I kind of like, after I did like those first 3, I kind of expanded my my ability to paint, and painted a few different cards as well after that. But lands are, I don't know, there's, like, besides the fact that they were kind of like the first cards I ever did, on top of that, like, I just really enjoy doing them. Like, I really enjoy landscapes. They're very fun to paint, and I feel like also a lot of the time that, like, when I paint a landscape, I can do more with it. Like, it's just, there's more freedom in painting them and things like that. And, and sometimes I can get pretty, like, I mean, a lot of the time I try to stick to, like, the main picture in the center. But I do actually take, like, creative liberties and things like that when I'm painting lands. And it's a lot easier to do it because, like, when you're painting, like, a regular card, you generally have to stick to a set of themes or something like that. Like, like a spell or a creature or something like that. It's kind of hard to like take liberties because you're worried about distracting from the focal picture. But with land, you can like put in all sorts of little tiny details, and it's like, oh, well, it's just a landscape, and like there's probably those little tiny details in the landscape, and it generally doesn't distract too much from the main thing, which is really nice. And another part of it too is that when I do lands, unlike normal cards, like a lot of the cards that I do, which are expanded art, like I generally have to leave the text box in. But with land art, I don't have to leave any of the text boxes in, which is really fun, which means I get practically a blank canvas to work on, which is a lot of fun for me. I love doing that. I hate doing figures. Landscapes are my jam. Yeah, landscapes are fun, man. They're a lot of fun. Like I said, it's really fun when you can kind of just be really creative with it and do whatever you want. That's the real fun of it. That's what I love about it. All right, so we're gonna kind of okay. Let me bring the camera in closer because we're gonna get really careful with this because this is very careful details that I have to work on. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm gonna go about it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right here and just kind of add like a bulbous body, just like that. And you're probably going to notice me looking up every once in a while. I'm looking at the sketch piece that I did to kind of use as a reference. So let me make sure that this camera is nice and focused so that you guys can see what I'm doing, because these details are a little finer than normal. Yeah. Okay, and another thing that I'm realizing too is that I'm going to probably need to break out um, my detail brush in just a couple of minutes. I want to kind of just establish this first, nice and easy, and then I'll break out the detail brush in just a second, because I can tell right now that if I don't break that brush out very quickly, I'm going to have a lot of muddy details, and we're at a point where it's very important to get very specific with the details. So, okay. And I can tell you right now, I'm probably going to be concentrating quite a bit on this particular area. I actually knew when starting this stream that, there's probably going to be some moments where I'm very heavily concentrating on what I'm trying to work on. So I'll try my best not to be silent in the stream. I think I do a pretty good job on keeping my mouth jabbering while I'm working on things, but every once in a while, like, especially, like, if you guys were to see me when I paint off stream, like, if I'm painting, like, while not streaming, I'm dead silent. Like, obviously I don't have anybody to talk to, so that's probably another reason as well. But I generally keep my mouth, zipped shut if I'm painting by myself. So let me break out this little detail brush. I know I'm going to really need it. This is the finest point I have on a brush. And I try to take really good care of it, because with these particular brushes, if you ruin them, that's it. Like, the other brushes I use, it's not a big deal if you kind of mess them up. But this one is like, it's my biggest fear to ruin this brush. Let me kind of, there we go, get the focus back in. So this is the brush that I'm about to use. It's much smaller. Let me compare it for you so you can see. So this is the brush I like to use the most, and this is my fine detail brush next to it. So you can tell it's a very fine point. So we're going to be working with this a lot today. Let's see. I did a stick figure flip book in 6th grade. I haven't done anything since because I suck at art. Oh, that's okay, Man Cave. It's alright, dude. I kind of see it like this. Like, if you're actually passionate about art, like, don't worry about it. Like don't say that you're suck and bring yourself down. It just means you need to practice. But, like, if you're not passionate about art and, like, you just kind of, like, doing your own thing and you don't really care, don't worry about it, man, because I'm pretty sure that, like, I think I talked about this one time in a past stream, was, like, everybody is, like, really good at least one thing, like, in their lives. Like, nobody can truly be a master of, like, every trade, but, like, every single person, like, has a particular ability to be very good at, like, certain things. So, like, if art is not that thing for you, then you should have faith in the fact that you're probably really talented or really good at something else. And, so that's okay if, like, you're not into art, then I'm pretty sure there's something else out there that's just for you, man. Everyone get those likes on the video. Thank you, Death the Kid. Good to see you, man. Thank you for coming in and joining. I appreciate the like assist. Much appreciated. Okay, so I'm going to get this detail brush kind of covered in some paint. And, okay, I'm going to have to be pretty careful with how I do this. So one arm seems to be kind of out like this. I'm debating, let's see, so I'm going to have to kind of tilt it this way, and then into the water, I think. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. And we'll kind of make it a little fatter too. And just kind of tilt it down into the water like so. Yeah, that's looking pretty good on the camera. I was kind of taking another look in the camera, because the camera is, like, no joke. Like, the main camera focused on the art that you guys can see, it's practically a second set of eyes for me. It's very nice. Because, it's just a little dark, just a tiny bit dark in my room. And what's really nice is that this camera is actually very good at keeping, like, a decent amount of light exposure on the art without me having a light in the room. So I can actually, like, look up at the camera and see, like, how my work looks from like through the camera's eyes, and that's really helpful because it helps me catch certain kinds of mistakes, lets me know how dark some of my shades are, where I need to add details, things like that. It's very nice. I need more coffee. Delicious. Alright, so just keep on adding in this gray coloration here. So I kind of have it, maybe it's a little too close to her belly, so maybe what I could do is kind of extend the belly out just a little bit. There. That actually looks pretty nice. That's a good extension right there, just like that. There we go. And yeah, it goes up to about her neck, so her neck should be about right here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Alright. Okay, this is gonna get a little complicated here, so I'm gonna try and bring this up, like so. Probably about this way. Let me see how it looks on the camera. Okay, alright. And I want to say this might be the single most complicated thing I've had to do on a stream for painting a card, which is totally cool because I have done much more complicated pieces than this. It's just I've never done them on a stream before. How much would it screw with people's heads if you spent multiple streams doing one of these altars and then just destroyed it when you were done? Just rip it. Just rip it. Hey man, Cave, you like it? Rip! Hey Mike, it's good to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by, dude. That would be a pretty good troll. I think that would be hilarious. Oh man. Well, hey, you know what? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say, Mike Hatcher, that you're probably a little more accurate than you would think. You remember a while ago? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Let me show you guys real quick. Let me kind of show off a little bit what I'm working on here. Take a look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, you like that? You like that Tolarian Scholar? Yeah? With all that Sharpie? I wish I was the 6 color of magic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, so good. Wait. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Whee! There you go. Hey, I altered the card. It's an altered card. There you go. There you go, guys. You guys can say that you came into one of my streams, I altered a card, and then I ripped it to shreds. Oh, yeah. Oh. Just listen to that. Listen to that sound. Listen to that sound. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's some Magic card destruction ASMR. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm having a great time. This is great. I love something you guys will learn. Oh yeah. I love destroying Magic cards. I really do. Oh yeah. Oh, Michael's Magic, good to see you. I'm ripping apart one of my altars. Yeah, that's right. I alter cards and I rip them to shreds. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, turn that into my confetti. Oh, so nice. Oh yeah. Alright, thanks so much, Historian. You have a great time playing some Arena. Thanks for stopping by. Oh yeah, like I said, something funny that you'll learn about me, I actually love destroying Magic cards. It's something I genuinely enjoy doing. Like I said, I don't do it all the time, but I'm gonna throw this away real quick. anybody who's seen any of my 6-color clips with for my catcher, most, I think like all of them except for like 1 or 2 of them were me destroying magic cards. So I have a thing for destroying magic cards. It's quite entertaining for me. And that's actually something I've been doing since I was very little. Well, not very little, but pretty young. Me and my friends, we used to have magic cards, and like some of my friends were like really into collecting certain kinds of magic cards. So like we had fun tearing them to pieces. Like one of my best memories was, mind you, this was way back a long time ago. A friend of mine had like a bunch of foils, and he was trying to tell me how important like foil cards were to him. And like, mind you, this was like over a decade ago. So like this was actually during a time where like magic cards, even the like really powerful cards, were not super expensive and things like that. Like they weren't treated like as if they were a currency, you know? And so my friend was like trying to show me a bunch of foils, and he's like, "These have got to be worth something, right? They're foils." And like we looked up a bunch of prices, and they were like nothing. Like they were like less than $1. And I was like, before I actually showed my friend like the prices, I was like, "I can show you like how valuable these cards are." He's like, "Yeah, what are they worth?" And I took one of his foils in front of him, and I just ripped it in half. Just broke his heart, just ripped it in half. He honestly, just to make it clear, he did actually give me a bunch of the foils. I wasn't like, you know, taking his cards from him and ripping them in half. But he was like, he was giving me a bunch of cards because he told me he wanted me to take them to a comic book shop and sell them. And we kind of discovered that we could only sell magic cards in bulk. And a lot of the cards that were like, that you would think would be worth money were like worth nothing. So we actually had fun like tearing certain magic cards up into shreds and things like that. And I remember doing that to one of his foils, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, "Why not? It's not worth anything." If I remember correctly, it was like a common foil. It wasn't like a super expensive foil or anything like that. But it was so funny. Trolled him super hard. But yeah, I love doing that. I actually, somewhere in my collection of magic cards, there's like a box that I have that actually, I have cards that have pieces ripped out of them. I have cards with Sharpie marker all over them. I have magic cards that have like burn holes in them. There was me and well, it's very windy here, so my shades are kind of flapping against the window. One of the guys that sometimes comes in and hangs out with me, Jabin, if you see Jabin Toman come into the stream, he used to, join me on a lot of these magic shenanigans. Me and him grabbed a pile of magic cards, and we just burned them. Like, and we actually kept some of them, too. Like, we actually, like, thought it was really funny. And burned holes in a bunch of magic cards and kept them as souvenirs, because we just were like, this is hilarious. So, yeah. I kind of just see it as, like, the reason why I feel comfy with doing that and, like, why I think it's hilarious is because I come from a time, like, it's kind of like what, Mike Hatcher likes to talk about, which is, he comes from a time where, like, cards weren't considered currency. And so, like, growing up in that kind of time period, it's like, and I mean, obviously, like, Mike Hatcher's been playing the game a lot longer than I have, but I still grew up in the time where magic cards, weren't, like, basically money. So we did all sorts of ridiculous things with magic cards that, like, most people would cringe or couldn't fathom doing things like that anymore. Let me catch up on the chat, because I went on a long rant. I just love seeing all the people that are like, "No, why are you ripping that card apart?" And yeah, rip that card apart. You guys are hilarious. I love it. Michael's Magic. I actually own a Chaos Confetti. It's not actually in pieces. It's really funny. One of the cards that, you would think you would rip into pieces, I would never rip into pieces. I like my Chaos Confetti. It's very funny to me. Man cave. This is painful to my heart. I'm going to watch football where people aren't hurt for fun. No, it's like I'm I can't stand watching cardboard rectangles shredded into pieces. Excuse me. I now have to go watch a sport where people destroy each other and break each other's limbs for fun. Oh, hey, Rebecca. I just noticed you joined the chat. Good to see you. If you wanted to know what you missed, I was ripping one of my card altars into pieces. It was, it was a Tolarian Scholar. A while ago, I had Mike, like, this was in a stream in the past. I had a stream where Mike came in, and what I did was I did a 6-color, basically like a brief 6-color of Magic Mention, where I brought out a Sharpie, and I just drew all over a Tolarian Scholar, like I drew like a little dick on his face and showed the dick spraying stuff on his face, and I drew a little speech bubble that said, "I wish I was the 6th color of magic," and it's technically an altar. I altered the cards, so... And then Mike was in here saying he thought it would be really funny if I shredded one of my altars, so that's what I did right in front of the camera. Alright, so this is about where the head's gonna be, right, this little blobby spot, if anybody can kind of see it. Let me kind of refocus. Yeah, that looks about right. So, I'm kind of just trying to go back to working on the sketch here. Kind of have to bring this arm up this way, and then bring it down this way, and then kind of curve it like that. There. Let's see. I started the background on one of my paints. Very cool, very cool. What are you working on, Death the Kid? Tell me about it. Just a foil Ristic Study common, right? Yeah, definitely. No, it was some kind of, like, if I remember correctly, it was like a Ravnica, like the original Ravnica set, City of Guilds, and it was like a common card. It was like a blue-black hybrid card, and it, like, I think it milled or something, and it was a foil. It was really not, like, worth anything. I remember it very clearly that it was, like, it was a foil that was worth less than $1. You bring up an interesting point, though. Ristic Study. Have you guys noticed the absolute insanity that card has undergone? It's a common card from Prophecy, and it is more than $20 for a common card in Prophecy. Common. Like, to give some perspective, like, a Lotus Petal, which is common, and from a much older set, is not even, like, it's not even $10. And I mean, I would expect that, like, a card like Lotus Petal would be closer to the price range of, like, a Ristic Study than Ristic Study would. I just can't believe that. It's bonkers. Mez coming in and is like, "Oh god, football is on? I'll be back." That's okay, Mez. You do your thing. It's all good. You come back when you feel like it. But yeah, I can't believe that Ristic Study, like, a non-foil... Did Prophecy have foils? I can't remember. It just blows my mind, though, that a common card from Prophecy is, like, more expensive than, like, a common, like, Lotus Petal from the original set that it came. I think that's, like, Urza's Saga or Urza's Destiny? I can't remember. But I just can't believe that. Like, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Okay. I'm just kind of focusing on getting these arms fleshed out. I'm checking the camera, and then I check my sketch, and then I check the painting, and then I check the camera, and then I check the sketch. I'm just trying to get it very nicely looking here. And I know it's just a gray blob, but the thing is that you gotta lay down your primer first before you can lay down your color, because otherwise it's not gonna look that great. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. I'm just trying to get this primer looking good, and then we'll focus on the color afterwards. And I should probably work on the other arm just a little bit more, because it's a little skinny. just kind of dip the paintbrush here. I bought like 20 Ristic Studies about 10 years ago. I just sold them recently. Damn, Man Cave, probably made some bank off of that. You know, if you bought them like 10 years ago, I would probably say they were probably less than $5. I don't know if they were within the $1 range 10 years ago, but that was not a card that was really on my radar in the past. But I mean, it would make sense to me if it was definitely less than $5 10 years ago. I would even say maybe it would be in the $1 range 10 years ago, because a lot of cards that I bought 10 years ago, like no joke, like I have a bunch of cards that I bought like a decade ago that were like less than like $10, and now they're in like the $40 or $50 range. Like, I actually had a really interesting conversation not too long ago with, it was Death the Kid actually, I'm pretty sure. He was asking me about the most powerful deck I ever built. And I basically showed it off to him. I sent him pictures, and I sent him a build, and I also explained like how the deck worked. And I was like, yeah, like I'm pretty sure this, like, I basically told him like that I thought that maybe only a couple of the cards were really expensive. And I estimated, because a lot of the cards that I had were like, I basically, most of the cards that I used to build this deck was over a decade ago that I bought online. And like, so the most interesting thing about it was and I had no idea until Death the Kid told me about it, was the card, what's it called? I think it's called Spinal Extraction or Skeletal Extraction. It's the black Phyrexian mana instant speed spell from New Phyrexia. And so what happened was, when I played a little bit of New Phyrexia, I wish I played more, but I didn't play a lot of it. Surgical Extraction, thank you, Death the Kid. Basically, when I got those cards, so I opened 2 booster packs of New Phyrexia, and I got 2 of them, 2 Surgical Extractions in booster packs. And the other 2 I bought online way later. And I built this deck with the Surgical Extractions. And all the pretty much all the cards in that deck about 10 or so years ago cost me about, like, I think the most expensive card in the deck was like $5. $5. Death the Kid brought my attention to the fact that Surgical Extraction is like a $50 card. Now, opening 2 in booster packs and buying the other 2 for less than like $2 or $3. 10 years ago, $2 or $3 for Surgical Extraction. And now it's a $50 card. I couldn't believe that. Like, because, I mean, like, I know that card is very powerful, but I've known that since, like, New Phyrexia. Like, when New Phyrexia came out, I knew those cards were powerful. Like, it's very, like, I actually thought that all of the Phyrexian mana cards were broken in New Phyrexia. Like, they were just bonkers. But I had no idea that they were going to get to be, like, a $50 card price. Like, that just blew my mind. Like, I actually had to go online and look it up after Death the Kid told me about that, to, like, make sure that he wasn't bullshitting me. I'm just kind of trying to get these little horns now. Let's see how it looks in the camera. Yeah, colors are kind of hard to tell with the gray. But yeah, that definitely blew my mind when I found that out. I couldn't believe it. Like, and that ended up being I think that ended up being the single most expensive card in the whole deck. Like, I have 4 copies of them. And like I said, when I bought the 2 that I didn't have, they cost me less than, they were less than $5. I don't remember the exact price that I bought them for, but they were less than $5 when I bought those 2. I know Ristic is expensive. I just bought one. I saw recently that Rudy opened a box of Prophecy and opened 2 playsets of it. Well, yeah, it's a blue common. Obviously, he's gonna, like, open up a bunch of those. Like, that's what bogus to me. Like, why? commons like that should not be worth $20. Okay, I go back to what I was saying. If Lotus Petal is less than $10, and last time I checked, it's like something like $8 or $9 for a Lotus Petal. If Lotus Petal is like less than $10, Ristic Study should not be, more than 10. That just blows my mind. I can't believe that. That's bogus. Um, Everything after Urza's Legacy had foils. Okay, good to know. Let's see. Hey, Pete and Peacock. I just now noticed your message. I'm sorry, I'm slow. Bought it for $9 before the Commander boom of 2017. Sold it for a profit along with my collection. Are you talking about Surgical Extraction or are you talking about Ristic? I would assume you were talking about Ristic because I don't think Surgical Extraction has a presence in Commander, but I know Ristic definitely does. So I'm going to assume that you're probably talking about Ristic Study. But yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care. I would like to have a Ristic Study for my cube, but there's no way in hell you're going to convince me to pay $20 or more for a Ristic Study. I'm not going to do it. That's stupid. That's stupid. Like, the demand for Ristic Study is extremely high, but the supply for Ristic Study is way higher than that. And it's bogus to me that people don't realize that. Like what you just said, Rudy opened up two play sets of Ristic Study. Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. He opened up a single box and managed to get 2 play sets. That's 8 copies of Ristic Study. Ristic Study should not be worth $20, and I think that anybody who buys it for that price is an idiot. Like, I mean, if you guys want to buy Ristic Study for $20, you do you, but the thing is Ristic Study is not worth $20. It's not. Like, it's not. And I think that it's a major, the current price of Ristic Study is a Timmy price. It's basically meaning that investors are taking Ristic Study, which should not be worth $20 or more. I don't think it would even be worth it to be $10. Like, straight up. And they're selling it to Timmies. They're selling it to little kids or people who have no knowledge of the supply for those cards. They have no idea. But whatever. It's all good. The Commander boom made things crazy. Ristic Study foil from Commander is like $46. Yeah, whatever. I say let them. You know what? If people want to buy a card like that for $20 or $40, I say the people who are taking advantage of those, they deserve every cent. That's how I feel about stuff like that. Like, good business ethics. Straight up. I'm not going to be mad about it. They're taking advantage of a flawed situation. Good for them. Because it may take time before the consumers realize how flawed that is. And you know what? They will probably eventually realize that is a major flaw. So all of those people who are managing to sell those cards for $20 or more, good on you. Good business ethic. Good for you. Straight up. Not even mad. Dead serious. Not even mad. I personally am a person who... Now, see, I am not interested in selling Magic cards because that's just not what I do. I'm a Magic card collector. I'm not a Magic card seller. So, that's not me. But as a person who, has sold other types of things, and knows good business ethics, like, the people who are managing to sell those overpriced, items that might even be knowledgeable of the fact that overprice will not be sustainable. They probably know it. And the thing is good, get your money now. Like, straight up. Take advantage of those people who otherwise don't know any better. Like, the only thing you can do is be a knowledgeable consumer. like, know your market before you invest. Like, know your market before you buy. Know your market before you consume. Like, if you're okay, because the thing is that if those cards don't sell at that price, the market has to change to be suitable for what people are willing to actually pay for. So, like, if enough people become knowledgeable that, like, that is not a sustainable price, then the market will change and they'll have to lower the price until they get to a sustainable price range. So the thing is that they're just selling to people who otherwise are not knowledgeable of what would be a properly sustainable price for that card. So the overpriced, like the large price on that card, like, get your money now while you can, like, straight up. And it's totally possible that it might even go higher for a little while longer. But the thing is that eventually you're gonna have people like Rudy who open up a box and then pull 8 copies of a card. Now, do you think that if somebody buys 1 box of Prophecy and then opens up every pack and then opens up 8 copies of Rhystic Study, do you really think that Rhystic Study is going to be able to maintain a $20 price? I really don't think so. Like, there's no way. The market has to adjust to that. It's not going to... If more copies of that card flood the market, that high price is based on rarity and scarcity. So if the rarity and the scarcity decrease, then the price range has to decrease. That's just how economics works. Okay, Mez, you know what? I would be interested in that. You know what? I would be very interested in a proxy Rhystic Study. Because I actually have proxies in my Power Cube. I have no problem with proxies. Like, I mean, I run a proxy Black Lotus. I don't care. Like, the point is to have fun. It's not to show off how much money I might have. Like, it's just... This ain't no Top Hat Vintage, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. Just to let you guys know, I am talking a lot, but I'm just trying to also fill out this gray to be more prominent, so that way when I lay down my red coloration, it'll be much brighter and much more vivid. So I'm not just wasting time by talking. I am talking quite a bit, but I am trying to make progress on this, so. Mez, I'm a Timmy! I just love being a collector. I worked hard for my money, and now I'm retired. Good for you, Mez. I'm glad to hear that. That's good. I don't even want to say how much I spent on my From the Vault Dragons and open it also. That's okay, Mez. Don't even... Dude, if you're retired and you're filthy stinking rich, good on you, man. Good on you. Don't even worry about it. Like, that's the thing is, like, you have the right to use your money for whatever you see fit. And anybody who judges you for it is an asshole. And they don't matter. They don't matter, dude. So, like, if you want to, like, straight up, if you want to go out and spend $200 on, like, a Sliver Queen, good on you, dude. Do what you love. Do what you enjoy. Like, I wouldn't suggest doing that as an investment piece. I mean, you can, I guess. But, like... I am the kind of person... You know what? Let me go ahead and give you some perspective. I bought when Iconic Masters was out, I bought a box of Iconic Masters. You know what? And I opened it. I opened every pack. And you know what? I not only opened every pack, but I opened every pack with my best friend, and we shared a lot of the cards. You know why? Because it was fun. It was fun to do. Like, that was that. Like, you know, like, and the thing is like, here's the thing is, as I went through the box and opened up all the cards, I actually realized about, like, halfway through opening up all the cards that I did, I realized that the cards, based on the value of the cards, it was not worth the money that I spent on the box. But you know what was worth the money that I spent on that box? The level of fun I had. That was what was worth that price. I spent $100 to have fun. And you know what? That $100 is still paying for itself. I have a bunch of Iconic Masters cards in my cube. I have Iconic Masters in my collection. I have a couple of decks that use Iconic Masters cards. as long as I'm playing with them and having a great time, they are still paying for themselves. They still have value. They don't have value in money. They have value to me personally. Like, that's what that's all about. So, don't feel bad. Like, do not feel bad about spending a lot of money on Magic cards, because as a collector myself, like, not an investor, not a Magic investor, as a collector, I sometimes spend some pretty ridiculous prices on Magic cards as well, and Iconic Masters is a perfect example of that. But you know what? I still had fun spending that money, I still had fun opening those packs, and I still have fun playing with those cards. So, that's what blah, blah, blah. That's what matters. Hey Cinder, good to see you. I'm sorry, I rant and I lose track of the chat. Good to see you, man. I'm glad to have you in here. Alright, so let's actually, I like the body shape. So here's the thing that I'm going to point out. You might notice that it's kind of blobby looking. There's no head definition. If you look over here on this guy, and you ignore the actual details of the head and the face and all that, his head is actually very blobby with the rest of his body. So that's what I'm going to do with this particular thing too, is the head is basically, like, there is no neck. So I'm going to start adding in some color, and we're going to start defining the actual features of this what is going to be our Lady Imp. I don't think the supply is high as you may think, and Commander drives the price of MTG cards since about 2015. I don't know. I mean, there could be a lot of people who would say that boxes of prophecy are less likely to be opened because of cards like Rhystic Study and stuff like that. But the thing is that to deflate that price tag is simply, like, and not the price tag on the boxes. To deflate the price tag on the cards, it's as simple as cracking open the packs. And, like, if you crack open, like, boxes of prophecy, you're going to get, like, 2 playsets of Rhystic Study. Like, that's just how it works. So, like, for example, when Rudy opened up 2 playsets of Rhystic Study, the smart thing to do would be to sell those immediately. Because and the thing is Rudy's a really smart dude. Rudy, for anybody who doesn't know, Rudy makes videos about him opening cards and him buying cards approximately a month or 2 before he releases the video. And the reason why he does that is because he knows that when he opens up cards like that, or buys cards like that, or whatever, does pack openings, box openings, whatever, he knows that people watching those videos who are actual people who invest in Magic the Gathering, they're going to either raise the price or lower the price based on the supply that he opens. So, like, if he were to, for example, open up 8 copies of Rhystic Study and then post that video the next day, he knows that there's a very large possibility that the value of Rhystic Study is going to drop, because that's 8 new copies of that card entering into the market. So, if he knows that, and he's like, well, I need to get as much value out of these cards as I possibly can. So what he would do instead is open up those cards, record the video, sell them for $20 to $30 a piece, obviously, and then afterwards post the video a month or 2 later. And then people will say, oh, 8 new copies of this card entered the market. That means the price is probably going to drop. I should probably sell these now before people realize that they can lower the price because there's more copies of it on the market. So that's why he does things like putting out his videos a month or 2 later, so that he can get the full advantage of the value of those cards while he can, before presenting, hey, look, I just introduced 8 brand new copies into the market. So, and 8 new copies of a card like that, that's a big deal. Like, that is actually a significant deal, especially when you're dealing with boxes that are relatively scarce, like Prophecy and stuff like that. So I really do think that, like, like, even though it doesn't seem like it's a lot to have 8 copies enter into the market, it is actually a pretty big deal, and it will actually change the price range. And that may be only a few bucks, but the thing is that if other people follow suit, like, for example, oh, I know Rhystic Study is a $20 card. I know that if I open a box of Prophecy, I'm going to open around 6 to 8 copies of that card. So I'm going to go out and buy a box of Prophecy, open up all the packs, and then sell all of my Rhystic Studies, and then I'll gain the value of the box back just by selling Rhystic Studies and maybe a few other cards. So, like, if people knowledgeably know that and they open up a bunch of boxes of Prophecy, they're going to introduce more copies of Prophecy cards into the market, and thus the overall value of those singles are going to drop. So, but that even, and that's the thing too, is, oh, I'm sorry, Peacock. Yeah, I just added some gray coloration to make the outline for the second imp, and it's pretty simple. Like, all I did was just add like a very thick layer of gray into all the areas that I wanted, and I am using a reference piece. For anybody who doesn't know immediately, this is what I'm referencing when I'm doing this stuff. So you'll notice that I'll look up in the corner off this way. That's because I'm looking at this particular sketch and referencing it. And I mean, the portions might be a little off, but there is a scale difference. So there we go. And also, I feel like I need to say that don't take anything I say about all this investing stuff. I'm not a Magic card investor. Don't take my advice for whether or not you should be investing in particular Magic cards. When I'm talking about this stuff, I'm talking about basic economics and then applying them to Magic cards. So, like, don't take my, what I'm saying as, like, serious, advice on, investing in Magic cards. I'm just talking about, like, the overall how economics works and rate of inflation and scarcity and things like that. Just because I think it's an interesting topic. That's legitimately the only reason why I'm talking about it. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm first going to apply a layer of red into this onto this whole setup here. And based on how it looks to me and the camera, I will probably change the color. So, okay. I'm just going to kind of lightly rub it off just a little bit. And let's just go ahead and kind of fill it in. I'm going to start right there just to make sure it looks alright. And just kind of bring it out along here. There we go. Let me catch up on some comments. Prophecy wasn't huge. Yeah. You need hundreds of copies going up on eBay to lower the price by 10%. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but at the same time, like, if somebody knows that they can just simply buy a box and, like, gain the value of the box back just by selling, like, 8 commons or they would probably need to sell more than just 8 commons of a specific card. But if they, alongside of selling a few other cards from the actual box, if you can, like, open up a box and know that the commons that you open up, specifically, like, that particular card, are going to gain you back almost the entire, like, more than half of the value of the box itself, and people are knowledgeable of that, like, people know that that is happening, that's going to greatly decrease the cost of those singles. And like I said, it could be only a few bucks, but the point is that that would be actually an active increase in the card. I mean, an active decrease in the value of the card. Buy what you like and can comfortably afford and enjoy. I totally agree with that, Mess. I do the same thing. And I mean, I actually have a rule about buying cards because I buy for entertainment, And one of the things that I have a rule about is I don't like to spend more than $20 on a single card. And generally, $20 is still too expensive for me. But when a card that I really want, that's normally very expensive, enters into the $20 range, that's when I really start paying attention to the card. And generally, I like it to come down to lower. Because there are cards that I've watched where they start at like more than $20. And I'll look at that card and I'm like, that card's going to get low. I'm going to watch it. And I've done this for tons of stuff, for tons of different cards that I actually own now. I can give you guys a great example that I'm not concerned about at all, like in the least. I was watching, after it was first released, the new Palladia Moors card from M19. And I wanted that card because I have a personal attachment to the dragon character Palladia Moors. And so I was, when that card was first released, I immediately started watching it because I knew that I wanted to own it. I didn't care about how useful it was. I cared about owning the card in general. So I started watching that card. When that card was first released, it was definitely more expensive than $20, like immediately. And when I say that too, I gotta mention I'm looking at the foil card. Okay, so I started watching that card because I wanted to own it, and it was more than $20 when it was first released. And I looked at that and I was like, well, there are a whole bunch of factors that immediately told me that that card was not worth $20, like immediately. Like, and there's a whole bunch of things that I consider. Like, for example, I think of, like, for example, something as simple as knowing its presence within the meta can tell you whether or not the value is going to go up or down. So, like, I knew that that card did not have a strong presence in the meta. I knew that it was too expensive for what it does. It's a powerful card. Within playability, it is useful, but it's not broken. So, like, I knew it was going to go down. So I just watched it. And mind you, foil Palladia Moors from the new 2019 set. So I watched it over a long period of time. I watched it literally, no joke, go from $20 to $16 to like $12 to like $10 to like $7. Do you want to know when I bought it? I bought the foil Palladia Moors when it was $5. Because I knew it was going to get that low. And, like, I wouldn't even be surprised if somebody came to me and told me, dude, you should have held out longer because it's going to become a $2 card. At that point, I didn't care. Because I knew that I valued it at around $5. That seemed appropriate to me. So I went and I bought it. Like, once it hit the $5 mark, I was like, this is appropriate. I will buy this. And I don't ever actually expect that card to get more valuable. Like, I don't expect it to go from $5 back up to 10, back up to 20. I don't think that will ever happen. But I bought it because I wanted it, and I knew that the price that it was originally starting at was way too expensive and unreasonable, but I knew it would come down. And I mean, obviously, you know, a part of it too is rotation. Like, rotation occurred and made it so that you can't really... Because I actually did purchase the card a little bit after rotation occurred. So... Did 2019 rotation... I'm pretty sure 2019 rotation already occurred, so... But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And there's tons of cards that even now that I'm watching like a hawk, that I know are going to come down in price. I'm trying to think of another example, another good example of something that I know is going to come down in price, that's not more modern. What's also interesting, though, is that there are some cards that I was surprised have gone up in price since I bought them. Like obviously we're talking about Surgical Extraction. That was a great example of a card that actually legitimately surprised me how huge it got, how expensive it got. So like I said, I don't know for sure everything, but there are some cards that I can like look at and I'm like, that's not worth the price. It's going to come down. And I'll just watch it. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. I put 13 copies for Ristic Study. They sold within a week. The price has gone up $3 since then. Hey, man, that happens, dude. Like, you know, like, if you need the... Like, here's the thing. If you need the money like, you sell when it's appropriate for you based on when you need the money. But the thing is that there are a lot of cards that are just going to continue to go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And the thing is that, like, a lot of those cards is, like, no matter what time you finally decide to sell them, if they're the kind of cards that are just going to continue to go up, you're never going to ever see the money unless you actually sell them. And, like, it's kind of hard to, like, kick yourself over selling a card too early, because if it's a card that's just going to continue to go up and up and up, then you would have never saw that money if you never sold it. Like, you can hold on a card, like, for example, like, a Black Lotus is just going to go up forever. Like, that's just the kind of card it is. And that's the kind of card, too, where it's like, I actually think that if, like, Magic just, like, imploded on itself, like, that card would still go up in value. There's a lot of cards that are like that. Like, they'll just always go up in value because they leave meta. Like, they leave, like, what the card game is itself and become antiques. For example, Black Lotus is not just the most powerful Magic card in all of existence. It's an antique. It's a piece of time from the past, you know? And that's why cards like that are just going to go up forever, because they're still antiques. And there are lots of cards that are like that. So it's like, if your goal is to make money off of them, then you could say, well, I'll just hold on to it forever, and it'll just continue to gain value. But the thing is that that value doesn't mean anything unless you actually sell it. And when you finally sell it, 10 years from the time that you sell it, you might kick yourself because it's jumped up by 100 to 1,000% what it was when you sold it. So it's like, you have to ask yourself what's more important, making the money or collecting the item. So for me, I'm an item collector, which means it doesn't matter how valuable my cards get. Because, like, for example, like, my Sliver Queen is $200. So, like, if I was focused on money, I could sell it right now for $200, but, like, 10, 20 years from now, it might be worth $400 or $500 or $1,000. And the thing is that selling it now for $200, and then 10 or 20 years in the future when it's worth $1,000, I might say to myself, like, oh, gee, if I held on to it longer, it would be more expensive. But the thing is that if I needed that $200 at the time when I sold it, then that doesn't matter. The value of the money at that time is more valuable than owning the card at that time. You know what I mean? But I will continue to own my Sliver Queen because it's not a vector of money. It's a collectible that I genuinely enjoy owning. It's not about what the value will become. Like, that's not a concern. I have plenty of cards that could have been more valuable if I held on to them longer. And mind you, a lot of the cards that I've lost over time that would be extremely valuable now, I didn't even sell them. A lot of them were either stolen or given away to friends that I care about, or lost over time. Like, that's just how it is. Because I'm not a Magic investor. I'm a Magic collector. Let's see. Most expensive card is $20. Box is $300. Prices are far too inflated. Even if you open up a playset, you only get 60 aftership. Yeah. I actually have a, I'll go ahead and tell you guys. I mean, I won't go into details about it because there are some things, like, there are certain Magic cards and, like, things like that I don't like talking about because I'm worried that, like what Rudy does, when he talks about Magic cards, he gets nervous that, you know, the prices are going to fluctuate based on him talking about it. And I'm kind of the same way. Not because, like, I want to make my money, but because I'm worried that if I talk about certain things, I'm worried they'll just get more expensive or something. There is a box of cards, an older box of cards, that I am very, very interested. Like, I've actually, like, made it one of my major things that I really want to purchase. And it's an older set, so it's really expensive. But I want to own it just so I can own it, you know? And I am keeping an eye on it. And it is, like, constantly going up in price as years pass. But I've actually noticed that its price increase has gotten lower and lower Like, in other words, like, there was a point in time where it was hopping up in price incredibly for, like, a period of, like, 5 or 6 years. But very recently, it's only gone up a few dollars at a time, which is really nice. So I feel like that it's kind of, like, stabilized, and I really want to try and get my hands on a box of it soon before something weird happens. The only problem is that it's very expensive, and I currently can't afford it. But I actually see myself possibly buying a box within, the next few years or so. And I just, like I said, I want to own it because it's like one of my favorite sets of all time, and I never got the chance to actually open up a whole box of it and enjoy it for what it was when it was out. Even though I did play during the time that the set was out. So that's something I definitely want to do. But other than that, I'm just mainly interested in buying singles, and most of it is just I buy them because that's what I want. I'm going to get this out of the way because I'm going to work on a new color. And I'll also catch up a bit more on what you guys are talking about. Let me zoom this out. There we go. I'm going to be messing around with the red a bit more. So I'm going to put down some red here. I did a layer of red, which looks great. The only issue I have with it is it's a little too bright. So I'm going to add in some black coloration, just a little bit, just to kind of darken the red to almost like a scarlet color. So let's go ahead and get some black, just a teeny tiny bit. We don't need very much of it. There we go. That should probably be about right. I always have to be careful with how much black I introduce into like a color just to darken it just a slight shade. Generally, I've found out that I can just rub off the majority of the color, and it'll get me the color that I really want. And this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good right here, based on the very small amount of black I added to it. So I think I'm going to try operating with this color as it is. Let me go ahead and wipe this off. 8 times 20, 160. You can't buy a box for Prophecy under 280 right now. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, well, I mean, Man Cave, whatever, it's all good. Like I said, I don't follow, I mean, I'm not a dedicated finance person, so, I mean, I'm not in any way, like I said, that's why I was saying, don't, take my MTG, my opinion on the finance seriously at all, because I'm not an MTG financer. That's not what I do. But, I mean, I still think that, the prices for that card are totally unreasonable, and I do think that it will probably go down eventually. I don't see that as a sustainable price for that particular card at all. So I mean, it's all good. Let's see. Actually, pretty Man Cave's still a loss. Can't guarantee a pull of 8. Yeah, I'm catching up on the conversation of talking about Mystic Study. I'm sorry I get so far behind in what we're talking about. I didn't see what you wrote. We agree 100%. Yeah. Serverless stuff is pretty much guaranteed to go up. Yeah, that's very true. Ristic is simply a weird perfect storm. I still think that it can go down in price. I really do. I don't think that price is reliable. Let's see. Rosewater said they have plans to print Oubliette. Really? I thought that card is, practically unplayable. That's interesting. I would be very interested. There was a period of time where I wanted to get my hands on a copy of Oubliette. But, I mean, the copy of Oubliette that I wanted was the original Arabian Nights. And it's actually really funny. The reason why I wanted the card is because of its art. I think it has awesome art. I really want a copy of it because I think the art is very, very interesting and very well done. That is legitimately the only reason why I wanted a copy of Oubliette. I don't really want it as much as I used to. It would still be a cool card to have. But I'm not as into wanting to own that particular card as I used to. So, it's whatever. But that's very interesting that they are going to reprint Oubliette. I'd have to look the card up to kind of remind myself how the card functions, because I recall, and this is just a vague recollection, I recall that the card was unplayable. based on like the new rules and everything. Kind of like what's that card that I love so much that I want to own a copy of, but it's ludicrously expensive. Oh god, it's shit. I can't remember the name of it right now. It's a card that I absolutely adore. Called Imprison. That's it. Imprison. And I love that card because of the artwork. But the card itself is unplayable. Like you can't play it. And I think the main thing why it's so ludicrously expensive is because it's a reserve list rare, and that's like the only reason. It's basically unplayable though, which is too bad because I love the art on that card. Maybe someday I'll think about trying to paint a card to look like that card because I love it. It's one of my I would say it's probably one of my favorite Christopher Rush pieces outside of like a bunch of other cards. Like I don't know. The Black Lotus is definitely one of my favorites, but I love Imprison. I love the art for that card. It's so flavorful and well done, and it's just very creative, and it's very like the artwork is very meta of itself. It's very well done. I always like the idea that I like the idea of that artwork for that card because the creature that Imprison enchants is the creature is trapped inside of the card. It's so well done. Like I always love that about the artwork for that card. Let's see. WotC is also, like you said, reprint happy. It's not wise to buy playable cards, right? DM me this box. I mean, I don't know. I get nervous talking about it simply because, like, it's something that I'm really afraid. Like, I'm so scared of it getting more expensive than it is currently. And it's already very expensive. But I want I want that box so bad. And I want to get it before it gets even more ridiculous in price. I'll give you a hint on what it is. To give you a hint, so it is involved with one of. So for the first hint is that it's a set built around my favorite lore of all time, hands down. So if you know like my taste in lore, this set is built around my favorite lore of all time. The whole set focuses around it. And another hint is we've already talked about multiple cards from the set already. So those are my hints for the box that I'm trying to get my hands on. But yeah, I just get nervous about it getting more expensive. And I do know that sometimes, like, just talking about stuff like that can, like, get people... I have actually had situations where I would talk about singles that I'm very interested in buying, and then people would immediately, after I talk about them a little bit, and, like, people get interested in why I'm interested in certain singles, and then they go out and they look at prices, and they're like, oh, that card is very reasonable, and then they go out and buy a whole bunch of copies. And, I mean, that's not necessarily, like, a bad thing, but sometimes I've noticed that, like, certain cards would, like spike in price just a little bit, and that gets me kind of nervous, you know? Because I want to get it. It's not about, like, trying to make money. It's about getting cards that I want to enjoy at reasonable prices. So that's the only reason why I get nervous about talking about stuff like that. Let's see. Reminds me, I've seen a foil of a $25 Charizard. Was too much when I was a kid. Now it's still too much. Yeah. I do actually have a Pokemon card collection. I don't think they're worth anything, though. Maybe. I think I have a foil Charizard, but I don't think it's the one that's worth a ton of money. So I don't really know 100%. I'm try and add some stuff before I actually get into the finer details of this. I want to kind of do that. There. Does that make it look more pokey? Yeah, it does look a bit more pokey. Okay. So let's kind of work on some smaller details here. So one of the first things I really want to do, I'm going to do hair. So let's work on some hair. I'm going to zoom this out. I got the color that I wanted for the body of the imp. So I'm going to move that out of the way. Let's see here. What is your new job? Are you talking to me, Peacock? Because I actually just did start a new job. I don't start it until tomorrow, actually, but I'm very excited about starting it. I am starting my new job, which is I'm going to be working as a CNA, but which is a nurse's assistant. But I'm also being cross-trained I'm being cross-trained as a CNA and also as a cook. So, and they're also going to cross-train me for some other stuff as well. So, but I will be starting out as a CNA and a cook, I guess. They said they're going to be doing both positions for me. And they said that the reason why they originally were thinking they were going to just have me be a CNA to start with, but then they contacted me on Friday and told me that they're going to immediately train me for both CNA position and being a cook because they're kind of short on hands in their kitchen. So they need somebody trained for that immediately. And they know that I have experience as a cook. So that'll be very interesting. And I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. I'm very excited about it. Very excited. So I'm mixing up a yellow here. I added just a little bit of white. And this is going to be for the hair of the imp that I'm drawing, painting. It's a blonde imp, so she's got blonde hair. And we're going to just go ahead and try to put it in immediately, and we'll see how it works. So I'll bring this, let me get this over here. There we go. Okay. I sold because I believe I'll buy them back for $1, $2 in a couple of years if it's not printed at rare. Interesting. Okay. Are you talking about Ristic Study, or are you talking about a different card? Oubliette reads like a black O-ring to me. Okay. I mean, you might be right. That might be what it is. I haven't looked at that card in such a long time because there was, like I said, there was a period of time where I was actually very interested in trying to own a copy of it. But it just didn't work out, and I lost interest. Okay. Just kind of trying to look at the picture here so I can get it just right. And there's a part right there. So we'll go ahead and add this portion in. There's a part around the horn. Just like that. There we go. And then there's, okay. So there should be basically like this. Okay. Sorry, I'm really focusing on this because I'm trying to get it as close to the sketch that I've made as I possibly can. So it takes a little bit of extra concentration. Hold on a second. Okay. And let me see how it looks in the camera. Let me get it to focus again. Just because I need my second set of eyes, and you guys can also have a chance to kind of see what I'm doing here. That's not exactly how I was expecting it to look. Okay. Well, that's why I have the cameras, because it gives me another chance to kind of look at it through a more clear set of eyes. So I might have to change it just a little bit. Not totally sure yet. Let me kind of kind of edit it just a little bit with the red color that I have established already. Okay, so let's kind of get it just like that. And that looks a little bit better. Just clipping off that awkward spot kind of helped out a bunch. The yellow does actually need to be a little bit lower, so let's go ahead and end that just like that. Let me see here. Oubliette works like a black O-ring. That's kind of cool. And it's a common. Like I said, I think I mentioned it already, but I did not know that it was a common card. YouTube community spike card games. Yes, it does. It's very true. Depends how old Pokemon rotates like Magic. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't rotate, which makes investing in old boxes good, but you need to know what is played and rare. That's interesting. I know somebody a while ago was making I don't know who it was, but somebody was making this big deal out of the fact that the really old Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, Pot of Greed, which I actually remember back a long time ago when I was a kid, and I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just a little bit. Didn't play it very much, but I did play it just a little bit. And that card was a big friggin' deal. Like, everybody played Pot of Greed. And, but I did hear that they, like, banned it or something, and that's, like, this big impact on, the price of the card or something like that. And everybody's freaking out about it, because it was, like, if I remember correctly, from, like, my past, Pot of Greed is to Yu-Gi-Oh! As Ancestral Recall is to Magic, you know? It was a big deal. And they had it, like, constantly, and I think they just only recently banned it, and it was this big deal. Oubliette is a great popper card, arguably the best. That's good to know. That's good. Maybe that's why it's getting, you know, maybe people are making such a big deal out of it. Okay. Okay. So I kind of have this hair thing going on here, and I'm kind of trying to get it look right by checking in the camera every once in a while, just to make sure it looks right to me. Just kind of spread that out a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think it's getting close. It's getting close to where I want it to be. Maybe just kind of sorry, like I said, it's another one of those things where I'm doing like these itty-bitty details, so it's a little Pot of Greed is the Black Lotus of Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of power. Yeah, like I said, like I think I remember people saying it was like Ancestral Recall. Because it's like, I can't remember exactly what Pot of Greed does, but if I remember correctly, it draws you, like, I think it draws you 3 cards, like, straight up. But yeah, it might be less than 3 cards, but, like, maybe 2, but it's like, it was a big deal. People freak out about it, and every deck runs it. And just kind of trying to make sure that this looks right. Her hair is supposed to kind of overhang on her face just a little bit. So I think that's close to where I want it to be. Very close. Okay. So now I'm going to add in probably a little bit of black. Like a very light layer of black. Okay. Rub that off. There we go. Okay. Here we go. I have to be very careful with this. Okay, so it curves down. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then kind of bringing this just like right over this way. How's it looking in the camera? Nice. That's exactly how I want it to look. Okay. There's more. I promise you there's more, but I'm just trying to make sure that the lines are lining up with what I'm trying to do in the sketch up here. Hey, Azriel. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. It's like ASMR. I've had a few people tell me that they really they like how my voice sounds when I'm talking over this stuff. Let's see. It is the Ancestral Recall, and Pot draws 2 cards, not 3. Okay, that's what I thought. The games ends in 2 or 3 turns, so having a card that draws 2 breaks the meta. Yeah, I kind of recall that it was like even though it's only 2 cards, it's like really cheap and easy to like do it. So like you can do it like very, very quickly in the game, so it's like crazy, crazy broken. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to want to kind of just bring this down just a little bit more. It's getting very close to where I need it to be. Okay. Okay. So close to where I need it to be. I just need just a little bit more clarification on the black. Okay, and I need to get it to almost a point, but not a full point. Because then I'm going to add lipstick. She's going to have pretty lipstick lips. Okay. So, and she's also got little cheeks, little cheek circles, so I'm going to add that. The pepper voice is definitely therapeutic. Oh, thank you, Azriel. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and start painting some pink. So let me go ahead and bring the camera out. And I'm going to bring the palette up so we can mix a little bit of pink. Okay, so let's get this white back in the game. Okay, I don't think I'll need a lot of pink, so I'll just do a couple of teeny tiny dabs of white, just very small. Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Peacock. I'm glad you think the hair looks good. It's very tough. Like when I do details like this, it definitely takes a lot of time, and I have to really focus on what I'm doing. So like I said, if I get really quiet, that's why. I apologize for that. But I think it's gonna, like, once I get them done, they're gonna look so good. So I'm kind of mixing this very light shade of pink here. This is for the lipstick and also the pink cheeks of our Lady Imp. Okay. So I'm going to try that out. And I'm going to have to use it quickly because with that small of a glob, it's going to dry up really fast. So we're going to jump right into that. Right into that. Okay, let's bring this guy right back down so you guys can see what's going on. Yu-Gi-Oh cards for $1 with the same rare odds. It can actually make you decent bank. That's really interesting, Peacock. That's actually pretty interesting. Buy low, sell high, man. Buy low, sell high. The golden rule of economics: buy low, sell high. Like if you really want to become a successful business person, you always want to remember: buy low, sell high. Okay, so let's get these lips down. Okay, so I'm going to very, very carefully kind of see how that looks in the camera. Oh, come on, camera. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh, that looks good. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. She's got big, pink, voluptuous lips. Okay, so now I'm going to get that, the pink cheeks going. Kind of seeing something that's bothering me a little bit. There's a couple of details I'm noticing right now while looking in the camera that I want to change. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing that's kind of bugging me is I want to make this just a little bit darker. It's very close. Not quite, but very close. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Okay, and then the last thing I really want to do that's super bugging me right now is I want to get this burgundy again. Okay. I'm just going to kind of, this part I have to be a little careful with. Hold on. Okay. I'm just going to kind of put that right there. Nice and careful. How's that looking? Oh, come on, camera. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, it needs just a little bit more. Just a little bit more of that burgundy. Okay. Hey, that looks way better. Awesome. Oh, God, that makes me so happy. Okay. Now that I've attended to that detail that I was being so desperately bothered by. Okay, moving forward. I'm going to now go back into my pink color, and I'm going to start putting the little cheeks on this lady. She's going to look very pretty. Let's see. Okay, so there's one. Okay, hold on a second. I'm just now realizing something else. And that was literally stopped because something was bothering me for the cheek area. So let me go ahead and kind of address that really quick. Alright, so I'm going to carefully kind of shade that in just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just like that. Almost. Almost. Okay. Just get that. There. Okay. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Alright. Alright. Let's see. Everything related to art. So easy to mess up. Ugh. Ha! Oh. Excuse me. Oh, alright. Yeah, well, you know what? I will say this, Azriel, is, like, one of the things that's really fun about art is that even when you mess up, there's always opportunity to correct your mistakes. Now, sometimes it can be a little time-consuming, but as long as you know what to look for, and as long as you can, like, pay attention really well to, like, where your mistakes are and how to fix them, it gets done and things look nice. And sometimes mistakes can actually look really good. It just depends on what they are. Like, in the last stream that I did, one of the things that I was actually talking about was how, I've sold a couple of pieces to people that didn't even notice that I made mistakes on them. And even though those mistakes really bugged me, the people that bought those altars that I did loved them. Like, they loved the cards and didn't even realize that there were mistakes on them. Okay, I have to be pretty careful here. I'm going to put a little pink cheek right there, and a little pink cheek right there. Haha! Very nice. Maybe a little bigger. Just a little bit bigger. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Alright. This lady's starting to look very good. She's looking ultra fine. Don't worry, wait until I get in those bazongas. And she's gonna look really good. Okay, so now I think what I want to do is I'm going to dip into some black, and we're going to be applying a few more facial features. I'm going to go very light with that black. We got to be very careful with it. Okay, so the first part is going to be, she's got a little, okay, hold on a second. Okay, I was getting a hair off of my brush. I have dog hairs everywhere. That's the one thing about having a dog is get dog hairs everywhere. So I'm going to put a little tiny, teeny tiny spot. I don't know if that really shows or not. It just barely shows. Okay. So, let's see here. You know what? I'm going to focus on the eyes first, and then I will do the nose. And because I really want to use the eyes first because they don't need the particular same kind of detail that the nose needs. So, I'm going to get the black here, and this is going to be very hard to do. Okay. Alright, so I need to get just a little tiny streak right there. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's pretty close. Okay. And then the other one's going to be right there. Okay, let's see. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that the eye on this eye right here is a little lopsided, so I'm going to retry that. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this red going again. And I'm just going to kind of put that in right there, just to kind of overlay it. I'm also going to kind of overlay a little bit of this hair, just a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. That didn't really go the way that I wanted it to. All right, let's try this again. Okay. I promise, I'm going to fix it. Give me just a second. It's going to be fine. This kind of stuff happens, especially when you're doing the teeny tiny details. All right. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. Okay. Come on, hair. Come on, yellow hair. Okay. I think this will do it. That fixes the hair, which is good. Okay. Okay. Let me, Sorry, I just, it's one of those things where I'm concentrating super hard on what I'm trying to do. Let me just kind of try to get this in there. Okay, so that's getting a little bit better. Okay. Alright, I think I'm just about ready to put in the next eye. Alright, so, let's see here. I'm just trying to figure out the best position for it. I'm thinking about realigning the first eye as well, because it just doesn't feel right to me. So I think I'm going to try and realign it. We're gonna try the whole eye thing over again. So let's go ahead and kind of redo this. Also going to change the hair just a little bit. Try and be very careful around the cheek area, because I really like how those cheeks came out. I don't want to change those. So we're just going to kind of very carefully re-establish the red skin. And we're pushing back the hair just a little bit. Only just a little bit. Okay. Whew. Okay, I'm like holding my breath when I do that. Okay. Sorry, my ear was really itchy there for a second. It was bothering me while I was painting. Okay, so... Oh, Azriel, thank you for noticing that it looks good. I appreciate it. I just kind of get into this mode where, like, I want certain things to look a very certain way. And so, like, even if they look good to other people, it's just like... Like I said, it was that situation where, like, people would buy my pieces that have, like, errors on them. And, like, the errors are mostly, like, I consider them errors. And then, but people love them, you know? And it's like, all right, you know, it's whatever. But when I have the card in front of me on the painting table, if it doesn't look the way that I really, really think it should look, then I will just kind of go at it over and over again until I can get it exactly how I think it's supposed to look. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to kind of put the first eye here. Okay, maybe I didn't get enough black there. Hold on a second. Okay. Kind of rub it off just a little bit. And we're going to put one eye here. How's that look? Okay, it's close. It's close. Maybe. Damn. All right, let me try something different. I might be doing this a few times, guys. I'm so sorry. I really am trying to get this to look the way that I want it to. So, something that I just realized is I'm also kind of comparing it to the other imp on the opposite side. So, in order to get it to look right, or the way that I think it should look right, is I think that the eyes also need to be lower on the face. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get the eyes lower on the face, like closer, a little closer to the nose maybe. So like maybe just like... Oh, I think that looks better. I think that looks better, guys. Okay, I think I'm going to stick with that. That's a great placement for that eye. I really like that. So I'm going to try to get the next eye aligned with that one. Alright, here we go. Like I said, this is the quiet, boring part of my stream because it's just taking a lot of concentration for me to get this to look the way that I want it to look. So it's got to be, hold on, right along the hair, just a little bit above the cheek, just a little bit. So like, probably right there. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit longer. Okay, that's so close. It's just a little blobby. Yeah, thank you, Azriel. Yeah, I just have very specific ways of trying to have things done when I'm painting. And, like, if I can't get them the way that I want them, they just don't make me happy, you know? Let's see, where is that spot? Okay, so it should be just right there. How's that look? Okay. And then maybe a little bit right there. Okay. Oh, it's so close. It's so close how I want it. So close. Okay. Oh my god, it's getting there. It's so close. I just need to kind of make the eye just a little less chunky. Just a little less chunky. Here, I'm gonna do something that's probably gonna annoy you guys a little bit just for a second. I just need to make sure that I can see how it looks from the angle that I'm looking at it from. Oh, see, that's really interesting. I didn't notice that until just now. That's why I needed the light. Okay, I'm going to do something a little weird here. Okay. Just very, very light touch here. Okay. Needs to be just a little bit lower. All right. I think I got it. I think I just about have it. So if you guys are curious what I'm doing, I'm using my wet toothpick to kind of pick. There's a chunk of paint that is like protruding from the card, and it's making everything look really weird. So I'm kind of trying to like pick at it without actually destroying the image that's already been presented on there. And it definitely helped a lot. I actually got the really large chunk that was on there off. And I know it probably doesn't look all that different to you guys, but trust me, it's a big deal. So I managed to get that off. And now what I want to do is I kind of want to once again reintroduce this red coloration here. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to kind of just very carefully have this red here. Just like that. Just like that. Here, let me turn this off now. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. So, now that I've gotten rid of the glare, I can kind of see it in the screen just a little bit better. Like I said, guys, I know that you guys have probably been in other streams where I don't really like mega focus on like some of the stuff I'm painting, but when I'm doing stuff like this, like I have to just really zone in, like, you know? And it's definitely a very different experience than when I'm just kind of like painting a regular old extended. Because I don't have to focus super careful on details that I'm creating that are brand new to the art. But when I do have to do it, I get really, really very into it. Very, very into it. Like I said, I'm very passionate about this stuff. I love painting. And it's very fun for me because I've talked about this a couple of times before. And by the way, you'll probably notice I'm actually talking a bit more because I feel really comfortable with the detail I just set in. So I'm kind of coming out of my tension of getting those details set, and I'm kind of trying to talk again and, enjoy you guys a bit more. But, yeah, when I work on pieces like this, it takes a lot of concentration because I'm having to work with details that are not normally in the card. So it requires me to be a lot more careful and a lot more focused and things like that. And I love it. Like, I do love it because it's like doing this kind of stuff is, I was talking a while ago about how I have a problem with video games because I lose interest in them and they don't really challenge me in the same way anymore. Simply because, like, I get the problem of saying, like, well, what is this doing for me, like, outside of playing this game? And a lot of the time the answer is nothing. But when I'm doing stuff like this, like painting, like, it's like I get to have that experience of like a complex puzzle challenging my brain. Like that whole situation that I just now went through of like getting those details exactly how I wanted, like that's a challenging puzzle for my brain that I legitimately enjoy doing. And it's like I'm going through this whole process of trying, it's like problem solving. It's a very deep kind of problem solving that I genuinely enjoy doing. And I don't really get that from video games anymore, but I do get it from painting. So now I'm going to kind of add some interesting levels of white here. Now the first thing I wanted to do is kind of add just a little bit of white, just like that, because the white is for the nose, her little tiny nose, because that kind of defines the angle of her lips and her face. And I'm also going to add some white dots into her eyes and also on her head in general, as well as along her horns. Hey, Richard, good to see you, man. Welcome to the party. I'm painting this Sulphur Springs. I'm trying desperately to get the last bit of details in here. I really want to finish it up, and what's really weird is I've gone 2 hours into this and I'm still not done with it. Hold on, I really need that second set of eyes. Ooh, there we go. That looks good. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've been working on this for about 2 hours, and I'm still not really close to being as done as I want to. But I'm working very, very hard on it, if you wanted to figure that out. I've been working like a madman on this thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I've just been kind of working like crazy to get this piece to look as nice as I possibly can. And it requires a lot of going backwards. Like you can ask anybody who's been in here for a little while. I've kind of had to go backwards on a few different details just to get it just the way I want it. And I'm going to add some black in here as well. And I mean, I still have some like other things I need to do with this lady. Like I have to add on her breasts and kind of define her belly just a little bit better. Oh, thank you, Richard. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I've been working like crazy on this thing, and I've been trying my best to get it close to this sketch that I have in the background that I'm using as a reference point. And I'd say it's pretty darn close. I'm very proud of the progress we've made with it so far. So, let's see. Okay. I'm just kind of adding some black here. Oh, that looks really nice. I'm going to just add a little bit more to it. So, Richard, I actually had this really cool idea for something I wanted to do for you, but you'd have to tell me if you're interested in it. So I kind of came up with this interesting idea over the last few days, or week or so, and I'm very interested in going forward with it very soon. And I thought it might be interesting to bring up to you, simply because I thought it would be relevant to your interests in particular. So one of the things that I really want to do, that I came up with recently, is I want to... okay, so basically what I want to do is there's a few different cards, like magic cards, that I want to basically do alternate versions of, but instead of doing them on cards, I want to do them on canvas, right? And so basically what that means is, like, I have a few different pieces in particular that I've already thought about doing. Um, like, one of the ones that I want to do is for, like, some characters from the Legend stories. Because I've read through the first Legend cycle, and they have, like, some of the characters that are from the cards presented in alternate, like, costumes and things like that. And what I wanted to do was to basically do them on canvas as alternate pieces, and then, like, maybe have, like, their card next to them. You know what I mean? So, like, but that basically, that thought process got me going in the idea of maybe what I could do is, because we've been talking about painting a Slivercool, like you've mentioned a few times, and I thought it would be really cool to paint like a Slivercool alternate on canvas, like rather than doing a card, like doing a canvas piece, and then having like the original card like right next to the canvas piece or something. And I wanted to do a whole series of them. But I thought that might be a little more fun, because that way we don't have to worry about necessarily like taking a really nice card and then painting like because I thought about the idea of, oh well, maybe I'll buy an Emrakul. And oh, thank you, Richard. That's so cool of you. Wow, thank you, man. You are being such a baller today. You and like all the guys in Mike's stream today, and thank you so much, man. That's super cool. You get a baller ring-a-ding personally from me. Thank you, man. That's awesome. But like I said, I really wanted to present this idea to you because I didn't really want to paint an actual Emrakul, and I didn't want to paint a Sliver Queen or a Sliver Legion, because I was worried about like because obviously those cards would have to still be the cards that they are, right? And I mean, they would just have this alternate art, and I wasn't too sure about how that would work. And I know I could do something like that, but I thought it would be so cool to like do a Slivercool painting on canvas, and then like maybe having like a Sliver Queen, like a, I don't know, like you could put like your Sliver Queen and your Emrakul card like next to the canvas or something like that, and have the idea of them like merging or something. And the thing that's really cool is that if I do it on canvas, I'll have way more room to like be more careful with the details and add more work into it in general. And like I said, like I didn't want it just to be the Slivercool thing. I wanted to do a whole series of pieces like that. That's something that I really, really wanted to do. But I wanted to run it by you because when I first came up with the idea, the way that the thought process grew was I was trying to figure out how I would do a Slivercool piece for you in the best, nicest way possible while showing off lots of details, but also at the same time not completely changing like the particular content of a specific card, you know? Exactly, Slivercool needs room to be big. But I would, yeah, that's so funny. But like I said, I would absolutely love to do something like that for you, and I wanted to kind of run it by you, but I wasn't sure when you'd come back and join me in a stream. So I'm very happy to have you in here so that I could run that idea by you. Because, like I said, like, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of content I want to do on this channel. A lot of it is art related. And I wanted to transition into doing some more some canvas pieces, and but at the same time I wanted to like also adapt that into Magic, but while simultaneously expanding other people, like for example, because I get people who are like, yeah, there's people who love art and all that, but a lot of the people just are interested in Magic. And I thought that might be kind of a cool way to transition more people to be interested in art in general. So I thought I'd probably start with doing like actual like Magic cards in alternate appearances on canvas would be really awesome. Emrakul absorbing the slivers and the slivers running away as she turns into... Oh my god! So like, what'd be really cool? Okay, is if it was like a storytelling transitional piece. So like maybe like a bottom corner shows like shows like a bunch of slivers and like Emrakul coming in, and then like another portion of the painting would be Emrakul absorbing them, and then the top uppermost piece is like what has happened after Emrakul has assimilated all of them, you know? That would be so cool. Perp in the background. Why? Oh my god, that would be so good. I'd be very interested in trying to do something like that for you, Richard. That sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, I wanted to run that idea by you because it was something I came up with a couple of days ago, but I just wasn't sure like necessarily how to go about it. And I knew that you would be the best person to talk with about it simply because it's your idea. You know, it started out as like everything that you wanted to present and all that. So I wanted to kind of throw it by you and see what you thought. But I'm glad to hear that you are interested in it. That's very cool, man. I will kind of work on the idea a bit more. I have an idea to kind of like start trying to work on that. Probably, I don't know, relatively soon, but I'm not 100% sure exactly when. I might do a thing where what I'll do is I'll kind of try some other pieces to start with, and we'll see where it goes from there. Because, like, I also have this other really cool idea to start it off with. I had this really interesting idea for a very particular piece of altered art that I want to do for a card, but I wanted to transition it over to canvas instead of it actually being on a card. Um, all right, Richard. Well, I appreciate your funding and your interest in my project, and no rush, and don't feel like you are absolutely obligated to send me funds. I really appreciate it. I really do. And I'm glad that you're a part of my channel and that you're having a good time over here and enjoying the art and are interested in my overall art presentation and setup that I'm trying to get set up over here. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will definitely check my PayPal in a little bit, and we'll kind of see where we can go from there. I'm kind of adding in these various black details specifically to match the imp on the other side, for anybody that's curious as to what I'm exactly doing. It's just for shading and things like that. And I'm also getting ready to put in the bra and all that. And so yeah, I'm just kind of trying to get that set up over here. But I figured I would start on the black shading to start with, just to get her to look a bit closer to the imp on the other side. So I'm just kind of getting that in there. Okay, so I have paint her like one of your sliver girls. I definitely will. That's so funny. I would actually, there's a couple of slivers that I own in my old collection that I kind of want to paint just for the fun of it. I don't know which ones I would do. There's actually one particular sliver that's like one of my favorites that I always kind of wanted to do like a extended art on. Which is, it's funny because there's lots of people who like will come into the chats sometimes, like in Perp's chat in particular, and they'll say, oh man, I wish there was a Phyrexian sliver. And it's like, well, in case you didn't know, there is. There actually is a Phyrexian sliver, and it already exists. So for anybody who's ever seen the white and black sliver, known as, I believe it's called, not necrotic. Is it necrotic? Maybe it's necrotic sliver. I think it might be called necrotic sliver. And it basically says, tap 3, like all slivers have tap 3, sacrifice a sliver, destroy target permanent. And if you look at the art, that is actually a Phyrexian assimilated sliver. It is a sliver that has taken on Phyrexian, it's like metallic. It has like all of these like bits of sinew hanging off of it. It's very Phyrexian looking. And they even show the sliver is wrapped around a post that has the Phyrexian crying face. And it's one of my favorite cards. Like, I love that sliver because it's a Phyrexian sliver. And it's just funny because people are like, oh, I wish there were Phyrexian slivers. It's like, well, they've already done it. um, but yeah, I want to actually like try and paint that particular sliver because I think it looks really good. I love the art for it, and anybody who knows me well knows that I love everything Phyrexian. I'm a major, you know. We're all headed towards completion. All hail the father of machines. All is one, one is all. I love it. All right, so I'm going to start painting the breasts of this imp. So I'm going to start with some black paint, and to really get it to where I want it to be, I think I should start at the chin of the of this lady imp, and just kind of bring it down like that. This is once again another thing where I think I might be kind of quiet while I'm working on this. I will try to keep communicating with you guys as I'm working on it, but there will be some portions where I might have to be very quiet while I'm focusing. Because, I mean, here's the thing that I've learned. When you're painting boobies, you gotta be serious, man. Painting boobies is very, very serious. You don't want to mess up painted boobies. It's a big no-no. That's right. Very serious business. Yeah, well, they actually... So, have you ever seen Ghost Flame Sliver? Ghost Flame Sliver is kind of like a... You know, Ghost Flame Sliver is kind of like an Eldrazi Sliver. And if I remember correctly, Ghost Flame, the name Ghost Flame Sliver, is in reference to... if I remember correctly, it's actually in reference to, what's his name? Ugin. If I remember correctly, it's in reference to Ugin. So, and Ugin is in relation to the Eldrazi. Like, he's not an Eldrazi, but he has a lot to do with the Eldrazi. So, you know, take that for what you will. But you're right, there is not actually a Eldrazi sliver. That is not a thing that currently exists. Need to get some more black going here. And, okay, so I have to kind of wrap this around the shoulder, I guess? Let's see here. So, give me just a minute. I'm kind of concentrating on how to get this to look the way that it should. So we're going to add in the bikini. Just like that. And I'm going to kind of add a little bit of a strap. Just like that. How's that looking? It's getting close. It's getting very, very close. I'm realizing a new problem now. Huh. Okay, how am I gonna fix that? Okay, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to figure out what I'm gonna do here. Okay, so first thing I need to do is to kind of probably draw this around like this, right? Okay, I'm going to do something really ballsy here. Okay? Just stick with me on this, guys. It's going to get a little weird, but I feel like I need to do this. This is super important, or otherwise this is never going to look right. Alright, here we go. Okay. So basically what's going on right now is I'm erasing, like literally completely removing portions of the art that I've already done. And like, keep in mind, like when I do this, it's gone. It's gone for good. Like I can't reestablish it. So I have to be very careful with what I'm doing, and I need to get these proportions right to make sure that the rest of it looks proper. So she's slimming down a bit. Our lady is slimming down just a little bit here, just to get these portions right. Okay. It's looking good. It's getting there. I think maybe if I just kind of remove some of this over here. Let's see. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, gee whiz. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. I had to thin her up because of the placement of her breasts, to match the portions of the rest of her body. But it still doesn't look quite right. I think I might have accidentally made her breasts just a little too small when comparing her to the rest of her body. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to erase over the black with the red paint. I did slim her down a bit, and I think that was probably the right move. However, it's not going to completely fix the problem. And I'm also not going to slim her down any more than how she's been slimmed down currently. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to add in this red color to kind of erase over the black like I was doing earlier. It's not quite working right. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so I've opened up that section just a little bit, but I need to open it up more. So I'm going to add some more red here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch her breasts out further to better equal the proportions of her body. So she will have larger breasts. That is the positive of this. Oh, thank you guys. You're like Bob Ross, happy little accidents. Yeah, and the thing is that sometimes the accidents just naturally work with it, and sometimes I just gotta fix them, and that's okay. Getting weird is my jam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you love this. Man Cave's already got her sizes fixed out, figured out. That's so funny. Yeah, this is family friendly. Alright, so let's kind of reestablish her proper breast sizes here. So I'm going to kind of extend out her breasts a bit. Oh, that's so much better. So much better. Okay. Alright, so I probably will have to go over that black a little bit, but that's alright. We can work with that. Hell yeah, man! 2 demons chilling in a hot tub. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. It's all good. Wholesome family activity. Okay, so Okay, I see where this is going. Okay. I was about to reapply some black, but I really think I need to get my red game on going again. So we're going to squeeze out some more red here. Get that on the paintbrush a little bit. Hold on a second. I might have to make some more of the burgundy color. Yes. Hourglass figure. That's so funny. Okay. So, okay. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to. Now, see, here's the interesting part about this. I basically designed her bikini to be a polka dotted bikini. So, since I've already set her up for black, like for the outline, obviously, I thought maybe what might look good and tasteful for her is to have like a black bikini with white polka dots. So I think that's the direction I'm going to take this next, is we're going to paint the entire bikini black and then add in the white polka dots. So let's go ahead and get right into that. Hold on. Refocus, please. Okay. Okay, so basically going to darken this entire area with the black. Maybe make it just a little bit bigger. Bring it up just a little bit, like so. Okay. And then we're going to apply it here as well. Just like that. Okay. Alright. Okay. Okay. I'm going to add in just a little bit more black. Just a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then I should probably add in some black right here. Okay. Alright. And I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to add in just a little bit of red. Let's see. Okay. Add in a little bit right here. Okay. Put some just right there. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to let that dry right there. So I'm not going to mess with that too much. But now we're going to put in the white polka dots. Thanks, Richard. I'm looking forward to it. You know what I was going to do, actually? So I am currently at 49 subscribers. I was actually going to have a 50 subscriber celebration when I get up to 50 subscribers. So, for anybody who isn't already subscribed, go ahead and join so I can have my 50 subscriber celebration. And we'll get there. I made a promise to myself that I am going to get to at the very least, 1,000 subscribers. And we're going to get there. It's going to happen, boys. And it might take a little bit of time, but we're definitely going to get there. Because I refuse to believe that refuse to believe. I know that this channel's going to get bigger. Is what I was trying to say. Refuse to believe. I don't even know why that came up in my brain. But yeah, don't worry. You'll be able to run around preaching the great word of Slivercool. And you know what? You'll be able to do it even better once you get a painting of Slivercool. Something that I need to set up better is I need to actually get my Streamlabs working properly, because I've been having this problem where people will donate money to me, and there's supposed to be like a little thing that pops up on the screen that lets people know when people donate to me. And no matter what I do, I can't get that to work. And I don't know why. I need to mess around with it a lot more, because I still want, like, even though I don't have like super chats, I still want people to have the opportunity to know when people are donating. Because, you know, it's good to do that. Like, I mean, I appreciate everybody who donates to me, and I want them to be recognized, you know? That's very important. So we're going to try and get that set up. I will do what I can to try and figure out what I need to do to get that to work right. But I still for anybody who doesn't know, Richard Lash donated me a very generous amount, and everybody needs to know about it. So, I really appreciate it. I want everybody to know that's a thing that happened today. So, much appreciated, Richard. Love having you in here, man. You're a lot of fun to have around. And, you know, I love interacting with you in my Catcher streams. I love interacting with you here, and I love interacting with everybody that comes into my streams and hangs out. Like, you guys are a bunch of really cool people. I love having every single one of you, even you silent guys. Even you guys that are not in the chat chatting, I respect you guys for being here, and I appreciate you all for being here. So, thank you so much, guys. I just want to say that once again, that I'm very glad that I get to have you guys hanging out with me out here and having a great time. As you guys have noticed, this is a much longer stream. I'm desperately trying to get this piece completed. I really want to try and finish this, and I feel like I'm very close. So I'm just kind of trying to get this all set up, make it look really nice as I possibly can. Seems to be a little thing here I want to get off. Hold on a second. Okay, I think I got it. That looks better. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. Like, I know this has been going on for about 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I just want you guys to know that I really appreciate that you guys, are comfortable with being here for 2 hours and 20 minutes, just hanging out and listening and watching me paint. Like, I'm very appreciative of that, and I really just, I want you guys all to know that I appreciate that. You guys are very cool. Okay. I need to kind of get this brush a little more wet. And I need to figure out what detail I want to work on next that's pretty important. Okay, let's see here. So it looks like the next major thing I really want to work on is, I kind of want to get this area fleshed out a bit more. Just like this. And, let's see here. Just kind of trying to get this belly more appropriate to, like, the right shape of her body. Let's see. Okay. So now I'm going to work on her belly button, which I've already kind of like worked on just a little bit, but there definitely needs to be more detail to it. It's not how I want it to be exactly. So we're gonna add some more to it. I'm first going to kind of erase that right there with the paint. and lay down another layer of red, just like so. Kind of just putting it all over the place, making sure it's well established in here. And I'm going to bring the black back in. Okay. And I'm going to kind of just add a line, like so. See how that looks. Okay, it's kind of close, it's close. Just a little bit more. Maybe a little bit up this side as well. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to reintroduce the red again. I kind of made a certain area of the black a little too thick. So we're going to add some more red to kind of lay off a little bit on the black color. So I'm going to kind of just reapply it right here. Just like so. There we go. Okay. And that's definitely looking a bit better. And I do need to make sure that I redefine that the black strap on the bikini. Very important, because otherwise it just looks like an awkward floating booblet. So let's go ahead and put that strap back in there. Okay. And I'm also going to kind of bring a little bit of that black back in down here. Like so. There we go. And then I'm going to also apply some black down here. God, it just amazes me. Like, guys, if you think about it, I have spent, like, think about this for a second. I have spent 2 hours and 30 minutes working on this. And you want to know something? My thumb is bigger than this piece that I've been working on. Right, look at that. I've been spending 2 hours and 30 minutes working on something that is smaller than my thumb. Story of my life. Oh, man. Are you going to put a rubber duck in with them? You know, I've had a couple of people say that I should do that. You know what? I think I might. I'm going to put a beer can up here on this little area right here. But you know what? You know, I think I might try to put a little rubber ducky right down here. I think that might be a little fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some more black going here. And we're going to kind of apply it down alongside of this arm very lightly. I think, though, that that's a really good idea. I've had, like, you're not the first person to suggest that to me. I think that's a very good idea. It'll look very funny. Okay, double checking to make sure it looks right. So I'm adding kind of like some defining lines, as well as I'm adding like a little tiny finger. As soon as this focuses again, you'll be able to see it. You can see the, oh, not quite. There it is. So you might be able to notice that there's a couple of dots on the hand, and those are supposed to be represented as fingers. Just to kind of give it a little couple of extra details to make it flesh out nicer and look nicer. I'm probably going to also apply it on the opposite arm as well. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. And hold on a second. I gotta reapply that black again. Okay, let's see. A 40 to set the mood. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that would be pretty nice, huh? Yeah, like I said, they're gonna have like a little beer can to look like they've been partying kind of hard. There we go. And then maybe a little bit around here as well. Okay. Ah, it's a little too thick. So I'm going to add a little bit more red. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's getting close. Okay, let me kind of turn it around for you guys. That also gives me a nicer angle to view it from. And then maybe just a little bit up here as well. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looking pretty good, pretty good. Okay. So now I'm going to also do another detail that I really want to do, which is I am going to add more black, but this is to also define the hair just a little bit. So I want to make sure that it can be kind of separated from the rest of the background. Okay. And you'll notice that the black is very light. It's just for the purpose of kind of defining boundaries between the hair and the yellow background on the card. So yeah, that's why I wanted to do that. It looks a little bit awkward at the very top, so I am going to add some more yellow just to kind of define the hair a little bit better. So just a little bit. It doesn't need very much. Just a very small amount. And then just to kind of lighten the black a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do something really quick. I didn't notice this until just now. I kind of shave that down just a little bit. Shave that down just a little bit. Make them look pointier. There we go. You guys are so ridiculous. I will admit, when you first started the whole Slivercool joke, Perp was not a very big fan of it, and he barely acknowledged it. But definitely over time, he's gotten more and more used to being accustomed to the whole Slivercool joke. It's very, it's become a regular thing that like we all acknowledge and we all know exists. And that would have never started without you, Richard. That would have never happened if you weren't here to make it a reality. Alright, let's see here. You know what? Okay. Just kind of tone that down just a little bit. Okay. I'm kind of like doing some cleanup details like before I really need to, but it's just some of the things like look off portion to me. So when I use my cleaning tool to clean them up, it'll help me figure out the next step when I'm painting it. Let's see here. I think that's something that needs to be moved too. Oh, is that actually part of the card? Oh, it is. I thought that was a paint spot. Okay. Um. Oops. Sorry, didn't mean to slap the camera there. Oh, come on, camera. There we go. There we go. Okay. Uh, hmm. Let me try something really quick. I keep trying to make sure it stays in focus, because if it can stay in focus, it'll help me greatly with viewing what I need to see. Because, like, when you're working with, like, a set of details that are, like, smaller than your thumb, like, you want the camera to stay focused so you can see what you're doing. Hmm. Let's see. I think I'm just kind of trying to like fill in the various spots that look really off to me, just to make sure that it looks all right and it looks nice and clear. Um, so I'm doing a lot of red in various different areas, kind of trying to um, like basically like make it look more clean and nicer to the just to visualizing it and looking at it straight on. So there's a lot of like fine point details I'm kind of trying to do. Um, Come on, focus. I need you, camera. I need you. This is what I bought you for. Come on. There you go. There you go. There you go. Good camera. Good camera. Good boy. All right. So now I think what I want to do is I'm going to add just a tiny bit of white. Just a little teeny tiny bit of white in a few different areas. Oop, that's way too much white. That's not even white. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. Come on, white. Okay. So, I want to add a little bit, just like right here. There we go. Add a little bit right there. Let's see. I want to put some white just right there. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. And then I want to add some white about right there. Come on. Very teeny tiny subtle details. Very teeny tiny subtle details. Okay. Let's kind of make sure it gets into the water there a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to put some up over here on this side, just like that. Okay. There we go. See, the very small amount of white that I'm adding in is just kind of supposed to be like reflective surfaces. Because if you look at the main imp, you can very clearly see that he has some shiny spots on him. So that's basically what I'm doing with this white coloration right now. Very funny. I will see what I can do with that. I will. I might try and see if I can add some area where herp might be located in the painting. That would be pretty funny. Maybe also just right near her face would be really good too. Just like in a couple of spots. Just like that. Just very lightly. Maybe right here along her head as well. Okay. And now, something else that I want to do really quick that I'm kind of noticing. Yeah. That's looking pretty good. What do you think, Man Cave? Tell me, what do you think? Think it looks pretty good? I want to hear your opinion. I'm just gonna... Oh. Okay, no worries then. I was just kind of curious what you were, like, as you were looking at it, what you thought. I mean, to be totally honest, like, all the things that I'm really paying attention to might not even necessarily really show up when you actually physically hold the card. A lot of the things I'm paying attention to are mostly noticeable to me because they're blown up on the camera, because the camera is so deeply focused in that these details, even though they look really huge on the camera, they're like the size of a pinpoint, you know? So I don't know if you're going to be able to notice all the same things I'm noticing when you get it in your hands. But I just wanted to kind of hear what you thought, if you had any particular opinion about it. I'm just kind of cleaning it up. And you know what? The reason why I wanted to ask too is because I feel like I'm done working on our little imp lady friend. So I'm going to, for right now, until something very specific catches my eye, I'm going to step away from our imp lady friend and say that she is actually good. She's good to go. So I think I'm going to try painting something else. So let's go ahead and add a beer can, because that's what I really want to do right now. My gray is rock hard. So we're going to zoom out. Oh god, we're at 2 hours and 43 minutes. Oh, I really don't want to do another part on this. I want to finish it. If you guys are... I think I'm just gonna try to desperately finish this. So, I'm going to just try and get this done as best as I can. And, because, I mean, this is part 4 of doing this piece. And it's definitely taken me a lot more time than I initially thought it was going to take. So, let's just go ahead and focus on this, and then we'll get out of here. Because I really want to get this done. So I'm going to make another gray. And we're going to add just a little bit of black. Okay. I know you guys probably can't hear it that well, but this music playing in the background is really awesome. It's like getting me into like, yeah, I can paint this. All right, so I have my gray here. Let's get to work on it. Okay. Maybe I need to bring it just a little bit closer. Yeah, she is kind of like a little gremlin. Well, I think that these are supposed to be imps, I believe. I think that's what they are. Which, imps are like a gremlin, I guess, Okay. So let me get this brush dipped. And what's really nice is that this beer can I'm about to make will be really simple. So, um, you know, okay. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of make like a really simple can. I'm making like a sort of cylindrical rectangular shape. And like what's really nice is that I'm using this gray as a primer, but it'll also probably be the main color of the can itself anyways. And it will just be as simple as I'm just trying to make sure this can is right where it needs to be. And once it's got the right shade of gray, and that shade of gray is relatively thick enough to be not necessarily transparent, I will add a stripe of white. I mean, not white, a stripe of red to, just kind of make it look like it's got that stereotypical beer can label on the front. Um, and then I'll do like a little tiny pop top on the top of it. Okay. Somebody's cooking something that smells really good. I can smell it coming in through my window. You know what? Kind of. Okay. It needs to be a little darker. Just a little bit. Because I can still see through it. That's why you lay down your primers, because like your primer makes it so that the transparency goes away. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's looking a bit better. I think though that I need to maybe add a little bit of water to the brush. It's not quite looking right here. There we go. That helped a lot. For anybody who doesn't know, when your edges get like really like, if they're not like when you have trouble with like your edges like poking out or sticking out, you can frequently just like add a little bit of water, and like adding water will help you smooth out your edges. So that's what I was doing right there, is just kind of adding a little bit of water to make my edges smoother. Okay. Alright, so I have this little kind of can shape going on here. I'm going to add just a little bit of black to kind of define the edges just a little bit. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to add in some red to make it look like a little red labeled beer can. Drinking a can of Bud. Alright. Alright. That looks pretty good, actually. And now I'm going to grab some more black. And this black is just going to define the little tiny hole at the top of the can. There we go. So there you go. A can of beer. I like that. Just like that, a little can of beer. And now I'm going to add probably what's going to be the very last detail before I end this stream off, because it's almost about 3 hours long. I'm going to do a little rubber ducky. Just like a little rubber ducky. I think that'll be really cool. So I'm going to put it kind of like right here. Let me make sure the camera can focus again. And then, honestly, like, after this, like, after I finish this piece is done, guys. Like, Man Cave, make sure that you contact me on, because I know that you are already a friend of mine on Discord, but go ahead and PM me your address, and I will be more than happy to send this out to you. And, yeah. And make sure you do the other half of the payment, and you will be getting this probably within less than a week. So yeah, I'm very happy with how this has turned out so far. It looks amazing. And like I said, there's only like I just kind of want to get these last couple of details out, and then we'll be done. And it'll be my first ever commission that I have done on my first ever commission on stream, which is really cool. It's very cool. And I just want to let you know that I had a great time painting this for you, Man Cave. Like, thank you so much for being my first ever commission person. And thank you for giving me such a fun piece to paint. Like, I love Phil Foglio, and, like, your overall, like, I mean, I know that, you know, you gave me, like, a very basic idea of what you wanted, but but your basic idea of what you wanted allowed me to take a very fun piece and make it more fun for both you and me. So I had a great time working on this piece. I'm glad that you requested it from me. And I'm just happy that I got to work on it. So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. So yeah, we're just gonna finish this up, and you and me will get everything figured out in the Discord, so that you can get this piece within. I want to say it'll probably show up to you in about a week or so, like, give or take, you know. So yeah. Maybe I should have made that head more bulbous. You just kind of... let's see. Yeah, that was actually, so the little red imp lady was in fact Man Cave's original idea. It was definitely his idea to do that. And when he told me that that's what he wanted, I was like, dude, that sounds like such a good idea. I'm so down for that. He's got good taste. He picked a really good art piece, and he figured out a really fun and entertaining way to do it up. And I'm just glad that I got the chance to like work on it. It's been a lot of fun for me. And I like the little ducky idea, which I know that came from multiple people that were not specifically Man Cave, but I thought it was too cute to pass up adding in a little ducky. So that's what we're doing here. Let's consider it an extra little detail. Alright. Now we're going to add in the yellow. Well, you know what? I'm glad you love it, MTG Man Cave. um, because like I'm really excited because like one of the coolest things ever is I've had a couple of other people that I've done commissions for, obviously before I was doing YouTube. And one of the things that I absolutely loved is I would send them out the piece, and they were like, "Oh my god, like I love this so much. Like I put it in my commander deck, or I put it in my standard deck, or well, maybe not standard, but they would tell me about the stuff that they use it in." And I always love hearing that. Like that's so cool, knowing that like my artwork has made it into somebody's favorite deck or whatever. And so yeah, I love that stuff. I really do, and it's a major compliment to me when people tell me that like, oh, like your piece was so amazing. Like I played it in my most recent Commander game, and I got to show it off to all my friends, and they asked me where I got it from, and I showed them your channel, and I was like, that's so cool. Like well, I mean, obviously when I'm talking about that was once again like it was before I had a channel. I mean, it was before I started making content on my channel, is what I should say. But it was still just so cool, and it made me really happy um, that somebody was able to show off my artwork and be really proud of it, and convince their friends to be interested in my artwork and things like that. And I love that stuff. I really do. And like I said, like it's very cool to have you guys coming in here and hanging out with me and just having a good time. And we talk about all sorts of stuff. Like we talk about MTG Finance, and we talk about what decks we're interested in and what cards we're interested in and things like that. And it's just really cool. It's really cool, and I enjoy it. I really like, this is like what I want to do for a living. Like I really I want to paint for like the rest of my life, and I would love to have the opportunity to like paint for people that I enjoy painting for, and just kind of like getting paid to do it, and people telling me what they're able to do with their paintings and things like that, and it's very cool. I really enjoy it. All right, I think I'm done. What do you guys think of my little rubber ducky in there? Oh man, I love it. All right. I'm feeling accomplished. I'm feeling pretty done, guys. Oh, now I get to just kind of like let it sit for a little bit, think about it, think about what I've done, reflect on it, marvel on it, kind of talk with you guys what you guys think about it. Um, like I said, like I had a great time working on this, and I'm glad that Man Cave came to me and came up with this, and it was really funny because you know, I remember when Man Cave first contacted me and I didn't know who he was. Like I didn't recognize his Discord name and all that, and uh, it was just we were trying to figure out what he wanted, and he had a very hard time. He was like, "Listen, like I really love your artwork. Like no joke. Like no, I'm dead serious. This is how Man Cave came to me with figuring out an altar." He contacted me and he said, "Listen, I love your artwork. Like your artwork is amazing, and I really want you to do something for me, but I don't know what I want." And like we actually talked about it for like I think a couple of days where like where like he was like I kind of like want something silly, but I want something serious and I don't really know what I want. And I had to like kind of say to him, I was like, "Listen, like I hate to do this to you, but I don't have the ability to tell you what you want. You have to figure something out. And then if you can figure out what you actually want, and pitch some ideas to me, we can roll with it from there." And, and like I said, Man Cave kind of like was a little, unsure about it. And, but I think it was like a week or two later, he came back to me and he was like, "All right, here's the deal. This is what I want." And like he basically bounced all these ideas off of me, and I thought they were great ideas. And I told him, I was like, "Man Cave, like I'm really glad that you took the time to like, go and figure out what you legitimately wanted, so that I can take that and like make something that you legitimately want to have and want to enjoy." And it was great because we ended up coming up with this piece that I legitimately wanted to do, and I had a great time working on it. Um, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that in the end that this is what he wanted, because it was so great to just put it all together and work on it. So once again, thank you so much for doing this, Man Cave, and coming up with this fantastic idea that I legitimately enjoyed working on. It was a lot of fun, and it was definitely a long journey that was, spread out across many days of streaming, but here we are at the end of it, and, you know, let me read this. My plan isn't to actually use it, but if you have a good camera, I'd love a high-res picture of it so I can turn it into a playmat. Well, sure, I'd be more than happy to do that. I can take a picture of it on my phone, and I will send it to you on Discord. And also, as soon as we get the final payment method figured out and you can give me your address, I will be more than happy to mail it out to you. And that's totally okay that you don't actually want to play with it. Not a problem with me. It's the only reason I brought that up is because so far, there is actually, you know what? There is actually one person I did a commission for where they told me that the piece was not to be played for because it was a commemorative piece. I did a piece for a coworker of mine where I painted a firewing phoenix for them as a full extended art with a little bit of an alteration to it. And they told me that the piece was not for playing; it was a commemorative piece for the to commemorate the birth of their granddaughter. And I mean, not granddaughter. I'm sorry. The commemorate the birth of their grandson, not their granddaughter. And they told me that they were heavily interested in magic. They loved my art, and they thought it would be a really cool commemorative piece. So they told me that they put it in, like they framed it and did all this stuff, and I thought it was very nice and very cool. So, but that's totally okay that you don't want to play with it. I totally understand that. And I have no issue with it whatsoever, because I had so much fun putting this together and working on it. So it's not a big deal. It's as soon as you get your hands on it, you are free to do whatever you please with it, even if that means doing what I did earlier in this stream, which was tearing a card up. It's whatever, man. Yeah. So I probably need to end this off. This is now a 3-hour stream. So, like I said, Man Cave, please contact me. send me some mailing information so I can send this out to you. Go ahead and send me the other half of that payment, and this will be on its way probably to you in about a week or less, hopefully. The other thing I want to say is I also want to, once again, one more time, shout out Mr. Richard Lash. I don't know if he's still in here or not, but I really appreciate the very nice donation he made to me in the stream. That was very awesome of him, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to wrap up like I normally do. So for anybody who is not already subscribed, please subscribe below. Hit that notification bell so you guys can be notified of when my streams are happening or other video content or whatever. Feel free to join my Discord, which also has the same name as my channel, and it is a public Discord. So all you have to do is basically search for my channel name on Discord, and you should be able to find it. What are the other things that I normally talk about? So I also have a P.O. box in the description, so if you want to send me fan mail, if you want to send me cards to work on, and also if you end up asking me for a commission and you want to send me a card through the mail, the P.O. box in the description below is the best way to do it. I also have DeviantArt page information. It's a bit outdated. I know I keep saying I'm going to update it. I'm sorry I have not done it yet. But I will be updating it when I have the time to do so. I'll probably be doing some high-res photos so that I can update the profile as well as send a high-res photo to Man Cave. What else? I think that's pretty much the majority of it. So, I'll just go... Oh, I also have a PayPal. Obviously. Talking about donations and things like that. I do have a PayPal. It's in my description. So if you feel like you just want to donate, or if you're also looking for the vector in which to pay me for a commission, that would be the way to do it currently. I think I'm just going to wrap it up. So thank you all for being out here. I had a great time. You guys are awesome. So, like I love to say all the time, take it easy, guys. Follow your dreams. Bye, guys. See ya.